Hi, everyone. Welcome to February 2024. I just can't believe it's going to be February here soon. And we're here in the SpEd department meetings. And just again, welcome. So I'd like to start this meeting and agenda off with a mood meter today. All right. So I don't know if you guys have seen these mood meters, but they are on our website for access. So thinking about these different quadrants, red is feeling overpowered by fear or panic. Your yellow is more pleasant and feeling delighted and satisfied. Blue is disheartened. You might be feeling discouraged or dispirited. And green is easygoing, feeling complacent and calm. So, just thinking about how you're showing up as you're listening and reading this, and in your department meetings next week, we have one that depicts some dogs. I'm feeling, pretty green, I guess. Maybe yellow. I'm in between those two. And here's another one where we can use our Sesame Street characters. So you're able to access these on our SpEd SEL website. And just thinking about how could you use something like a mood meter with your learners to check in as you start your time with them. All right, so let's get started with our items for this month. There are quite a few. The first one is FAPE and LRE. And why this is necessary, it's really the essence of what we do in special education, right? And we want to continue our learning and have everyone kind of in the same realm of that learning during the year. We have been talking about this topic with our school leaders this year and just helping understand what FAPE and LRE is all about. And it's going to be our topic at Seek this week as well with some of our families. And so when we think about a free and appropriate public education, we all really do have an understanding of what free means. It means it's free for all of our learners and our families, and it's provided at public expense. But sometimes that appropriate piece can be difficult when we are in IEP meetings and working with our families, and we might have different ideas than our families have. And so I'd really like you to think about Andrew F. versus Douglas County School District. And they determined that us as a school and an IEP team, we need to reasonably calculate and enable our students to make progress appropriate in the light of their circumstances. And that they need to be able to have a chance to meet those challenging objectives. What does that mean? It means that we shouldn't have the same goals year to year. It means they should have the opportunity to learn and be challenged just like general ed peers. So reasonably calculated. The decisions are made by the IEP team's expertise. How has the progress of that student been going, and what is that potential for growth? And also incorporating the views of the parents. So things we're going to consider is that special education related services. Is our instruction effective and supporting that growth? Is anything interfering with that progress, such as behaviors? Progress in light of the child's circumstances. We're going to focus on that individualized need of that particular student. It is the core of IDEA, and we need to be using that specially designed instruction to meet all those unique needs through that IEP. And the chance to meet challenging objectives, we need to offer that IEP based on the unique needs of the child, designed to provide access. It needs to be challenging. We need to be linking it to state standards, and we need ambitious goals. So some of you might be saying, we have this ambitious goal, but what if my student's not making progress as I thought they would? Well, we know that an IEP is not a guarantee of specific educational or functional results, but if our student is not making progress, teams do need to revisit the IEP. So when you're looking at your progress reports and you're looking at your data, and we've made some instructional changes to see if that supports change and progress and it's not happening, we're encouraging you to hold an IEP meeting and problem solve. Least restrictive environment. We all know what this is. We all know that to the maximum extent appropriate, children with disabilities need to be educated with their peers that are non-disabled. The LRE does not mean that that's what we're going to do every time. It is individualized, and it's based on what that student needs to be able to thrive and achieve. We want our learners with IEPs receiving special education to be in the same classroom as their peers as much as possible, and when appropriate. LRE isn't a place, it's a principle that guides our educational programming, and it should look different, and it's going to look different and unique for every learner. All right, item number 2, ESY Eligibility Determination. So we're coming on that time of the year where we're going to start having breaks, and you guys are still holding IEP meetings. And so we want to remind you of eligibility and making sure that you're collecting needed data to make those determinations and decisions. So ESY is a required part of a student's IEP, and a decision regarding the student's eligibility should be made annually. With spring coming up, some of you might have marked more data needed. So it's time to start making sure you have accurate data on whether the student needs that or does not need that, meaning, do they qualify? So we have some guidance here, and students do need to meet criteria to qualify for ESY. Should be based on student needs and data, and it is not a parent preference or whether the student can or can't attend. If they meet and they qualify, we need to be proposing that. So instead of saying, do you think Johnny would like to come to ESY this year? We would say, let's look at the data to see if Johnny meets eligibility criteria. It needs to be considered annually. It is not automatically assumed year to year. There might be some years a student meets that threshold and needs and requires ESY to maintain skills, and there might be years that it's not needed. So there are 3 different categories that you can have data to substantiate the need for ESY. I'm not going to read through all of it. I will say, just a little bit. So regression recoupment. That is if we're on a long break and the student comes back and they're not where they were, and it's taking more time than the break to recoup that. That is something that you should be considering because summer is so long. Self-sufficiency, and you can read more about that here. And then we also have unique needs. So unique needs refer to situations where failure to provide a service beyond the normal school year will result in permanently losing or severely limiting the student's capacity, okay, to benefit from FAPE. So we want you to think about the students on your caseload who demonstrate a need for ESY. And you can continue to make adjustments to this service depending on the student's progress. For any student who the team has decided and determined that more data is needed, a decision needs to be made within the next couple of months and communicated with families. If you have any questions, make sure you're connecting with your special services supervisor at the department meeting. All right, we did CIMP, and that was at the end of January, just a couple weeks ago. And so we finished those. We reviewed specifically IEPs or IFSPs, and most of you submitted a file name to have that done. We are really committed to implementing a CIMP process that results in you receiving meaningful feedback on your special education paperwork and due process. Our goal is to really have this be a supportive and positive experience that equips you to just improve your practice and have some learning as needed. So your principals will receive the district and building and individual CIMP reports February 13th. And once they receive those reports, typically they'll individually distribute those to each of you that have had a file reviewed. Please take the opportunity to review your feedback and consider any feedback that you might like clarified or you might have questions about. And then the process for that, if you do have questions, is reaching out to either a services coordinator that supports you, a special services supervisor that supports you. You can also reach out to a colleague, mentor, or school psych as well. At our next SpEd department meeting that I share out, we will share some of the themes that we find. I do want you guys to remember that this is just one piece of feedback. So as you receive that, I want you to just take a deep breath and just use it as a learning opportunity, because that's what it is. It's just an opportunity for us to continually grow and improve our practice. All right, item 4, artificial intelligence in special education. So we know that there are programs out there and AI is popping up everywhere. So we want to make sure that you guys, if you decide to access this, that you just are thinking about data privacy and things that are needed. So as you explore and see how AI might support you in lesson planning, in due process, we just want to remind you to not share specific student data. So you shouldn't be using learners' names, birth dates, pieces like that. We'd also like to be able to share opportunities with each other and how you might be using AI to help you. So we have a link here. It says, please submit it here. So we can just collectively share how AI tools might benefit you and the learners you support. Item 5, building transition meetings. So when students transition from one building to another, it's really important to engage in connecting about their special education needs, what those supports and services look like. And each of our member districts does have a different process in place for working through what this might look like. And it often results in a parent meeting. So we just want you guys to be thinking about what does that look like and how can I be prepared to help my student and my learner transition to that next building successfully. So there are times where an IEP might end up needing to be amended, and that sending teacher will be doing that most times. We really want you to keep in mind that districts where the notice of team meeting might be a change in process, the special services supervisors will be working with you on how to minimize that impact, because that is a need to make sure that we're notifying parents of these meetings. All right, item 6 is assistive technology, and I have kind of a long update in that area. So there was a Dear Colleague letter in January of this year, and it states, high quality educational opportunities should be accessible to all learners, and emerging technologies hold promise to transform instruction and learning while reducing barriers. They can contribute to the reinforcement and progression of relationships between educators and students, reinvent approaches to learning and collaboration, reduce persistent disparities in equity and accessibility, and adapt learning experiences to meet the needs of all learners. I did link in the Dear Colleague letter if you'd like to take a look at that. It's highlighted here in blue. So a little bit of guidance. We wanted to provide some myths and facts, and we're going to start dripping these in here and there. So assistive technology should be considered at some IEP team meetings. The fact is that each time an IEP team develops, reviews, or revises a child's IEP, the IEP team must consider whether a child requires AT devices and services. So I just want us to think about that. Assistive technology is a required topic that should be discussed anytime we are reviewing, developing, or revising an IEP. I have linked in the document that's Myth and Facts. It has many of them, so you can peruse that if you want to. I have also linked in IDEA and AT if you want to be able to just kind of review on your own. It has the summary, it has the Dear Colleague letter, Myths and Facts. It's just a nice resource that I wanted you to have access to. All right. We also want to take this opportunity to talk about Kurzweil. It's an assistive technology computer software that helps students access grade level materials. It really assists them in completing reading and writing tasks via text to speech and speech to text technology. And all of our member districts at the secondary level have access to this, both our special educators and our general educators. This is just really vital in being able to provide opportunities for our learners, equity, and access. And so I really encourage you, if you have questions about it or you want to know how that can support learners in your classrooms, to one, be reviewing the Kurzweil Brightspace course that is available, but you can also reach out to any AT team member. We also this year have networking opportunities. The next one is Tuesday, April 16th. And it's just an opportunity for you to get support. You can explore the AT closet and items here at SpEd and curate resources that might be available for you to create. So we want you to be engaged. We want to support you in your learning and supporting your students. To register, you're going to go to the Brightspace and you're going to find your district and click on the Discover link in the banner. And then you're going to look for registration for AT networking nights. All right. We hope to see you guys there. Social media. So I don't know who follows our social media. I follow on Instagram and Facebook. Those are the two main social media platforms I use. But we want to share that we don't use social media to get clicks and likes. We are really using our social media accounts to amplify and share the great work each of you are doing as educators. And so I want to encourage you, just take pause and think about something you could submit and highlight for our communities and each other. We have examples here that you can see some great educators displaying all the hard work that they're doing. It's just really great to see. And you can submit those yourselves to social media at scred.k12.mn.us. So I just really encourage you to take the time to find and highlight something that you really enjoy and want to share with those in your community. All right. So many of you know we have a lot of professional learning, and a lot of that happens in August. And so we are really seeking some feedback to plan for the next school year. This is the time of the year where we start doing budgets, we start doing planning, and we think about what do you as the educators need for continued learning and growth. And so it's really important for us to be able to support some high quality professional learning, but we want to be informed by our stakeholders, which is you. So at your department meeting, we'd really like you to share your thoughts to the following questions. Where do you feel solid in your practice? What are the top areas you would like to more professional learning and support in? What are the best methods for providing professional learning and support? Meaning, is on-demand effective for you? Do you prefer in-person? Do you prefer on-site coaching or a cohort model? What do you need in terms of learning and support as an educator? And for those that are new this year, think back to August. What felt really necessary in helping you get set up and successful for the school year? And what was just too much too soon? That'd be really helpful for us to understand and know as we plan for the future. We've also put together a survey with some of the very same questions if you'd like to fill that out. The link is right here. All right, we're ending our time together here. We're getting to item number 9, which is emergency health forms within SpEd forms. So the question is, are you using this form within SpEd forms? If you can share this with your special services supervisor at your SpEd department meeting check-in, that would be greatly appreciated. We're just kind of thinking through forms and what needs to be turned on and what needs to be turned off. All right, item 10, the lending library. Do you guys know we have a lending library here at SpEd? Because we do. So if you have different things that you want to trial, we have a library that you can come and access. When you do check things out from the lending library, that does need to be done through Melinda and checked out in the system so we know who has that. We have great things. We have Edmark. We have 5-point scales and behavior management things. Just so many things that might support you in your journey as an educator. We are currently missing one of the items, and that is social behavior and self-management, 5-point scales for adolescents and adults. And so if you happen to have that and maybe forgot to check it out, or we just for some reason don't have you down as having that checked out, if you can get back to me or Melinda so we can get that documented, that'd be awesome. So I want to leave you with a quote, like I like to do. Just thank you. Thank you for making a difference every day. Our learners need you. You guys are working hard. We see the work you're doing. And our learners are just so fortunate to have educators that care. So as you continue into February and the springtime, just remember that you make an impact, and thank you.